Hey guys, just want to run through how to run A/B tests on your Shopify store because it's something that you usually will need a software for. We prefer to use Intelligems. We're not affiliated with them in any way, and you can use any A/B testing software that you would like to use. In my experience, Intelligems is pretty easy to use, and it's also pretty cheap as well. I think it's something like $50 a month or something like that in order to get this on your store. So I do recommend this. Now, what we want to do here, and this is a store that we're working on currently, is just on this button here, just click create a test. And then inside of here, you'll have a number of different options, which will appeal to different types of tests that you're trying to run. So the main ones that we pay attention to are going to be these content tests. And this is basically where you're visually seeing something different on your Shopify store in the test group versus the control group. So in this case, what you can do is use their on-site editor, using this button over here, to make changes to text or hide or show elements in the control group. Alternatively, you can use split URL, which means that if you have two URLs on the website, let's say variant 1 and variant 2, you can have 50% of traffic go to the URL with variant 1 and 50% go to the URL with variant 2. Generally speaking, this will require what's called a URL parameter. And if you're not a developer or you haven't really done much coding, it might be best to leave this onto the side for now, unless what you're doing is testing, for example, maybe different products or like different offers and things like that. So let's say, for example, you have like a landing page that redirects to a bundle, and let's say you have two types of bundles and you want to know which one converts better, you could do a split URL here, where half go to one bundle, half go to the other bundle. That is a possibility. The other options here are template. So you could have a single product. So if you're selling one product, but you have two different templates, and let's say you've redesigned your product page and you want to see if it's going to perform better, you can split test one template against the other with the same product. So half of your traffic will see one template with that product, and the other half of the traffic will see the other template with that product. Or alternatively, you can do theme. And this is probably the easiest one and the one that I recommend most of the time, especially for beginners or people who aren't necessarily developers. Easy thing that you can do here is just have your live theme, which is currently what everyone sees, duplicate that on the back end of Shopify, make your changes to it, and then run a split test where half of the traffic goes to the currently live theme and half of the traffic goes to this theme that is unpublished on the back end of Shopify. And then what you can do, obviously, is see which one converts better. So that's a breakdown of the content tests. Now you do have these other pricing tests here as well. Um, Essentially, what you're doing here is just modifying the price and seeing if they perform better. So if I decrease the price by 10%, will I generate enough sales to make up for the 10% less I'm getting per product and more? So in that case, that's what's called a profit test, because overall you're measuring profit as opposed to just conversions and things like that. So what I want to do here first is I want to show you guys how to do an on-site edit. So if I call this and I say just experimenting, or actually let me do just testing here. And in the description, I'll tell everyone to ignore this in case one of the team takes a look. And I click create here. Now, inside of the test, what I'll be able to do is determine what percentage of traffic goes to the control group versus the new group. Now, the control group is your current website. So it's what people currently see, and that's in the blue. The new group is what the changes that you're testing. So this is where the variations start to come in. Now, you can change the name of this to make it a little bit easier. So I might say, let's say, new homepage. So, and I can also change the name of this. So I'll call this old homepage. That just makes it a little bit easier for me to label it as I'm reading through these tests. Typically speaking, you want to do 50-50. Sometimes what you might want to do is add additional groups. So this works if there's a lot of changes that you want to make to your website and you want to test all of them at once. So you can do up to 5, I believe, in Intelligems. Yeah, you can do up to 5, which means 20% of your traffic will go to each one of those 5 tests. And what that will allow you to do is, let's say there's 5 elements, or let's say there's 4 elements that you want to change on the website. You have your old homepage, which is your current live website, what people are seeing from that point of view. And then you have new homepage 1, new homepage 2, new homepage 3, and new homepage 4. And you'll distribute the traffic evenly between all of those and see which one is performing the best. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to have a 50-50 split right now, but just so you guys know, that is a possibility. Now, if I go to the next step, what I can do over here inside of the content edit section is apply and edit inside of the visual editor. Now, this is Intelligems visual editor. So if I click on that, it will load up the website in a different window. And that website, I will then be able to edit as I scroll through it. So over here, if let's say I want to click on an element like this for everyday hydration, what I can do is switch to the new homepage. So this will be the new one that we want to do. And then I'll click make on-site edit, and then I'll select an element, and then I will select this, and then I can select it. I can hide the element, I can edit the code, or I can edit the text. So this is really good for making copy changes, right? So if I click edit text, what I can do on the new page is I can say new text. The old page, you will notice, will just be leave as is because we're not making any changes to the current live website. Now, if I hit done, you'll see new text here shows up. And if I switch between the new page and the old homepage, you'll see that there's a variation here now. So in the old homepage, aka the current live website, it says for everyday hydration, whereas on the new homepage, it says new text here. And I can make that change for really any element that I want here, any type of copy that I want to change. It's very easy for me to do so. What I can do as well is start to hide elements also. So if I select this element, for example, and I just say I want to hide that, that will be hidden just on the new homepage, but not on the old homepage. And so if I go to the new homepage, we have 2 changes here. The copy has been changed and that element doesn't exist. Whereas if I go back to the old homepage, the copy is what it was originally, and this element still remains. So this is a relatively easy way for you to go in and make copy changes or hide elements on your different templates. One thing I would say is that there is a section here for you to be able to edit code. So you can edit HTML, CSS here. So you see it highlights the element inside of the code for us. If you're not a developer, I would just recommend not messing with this just because you will run into issues with compatibility on desktop versus mobile and so on, which ideally you don't really want to be running into. So I'm going to exit this editor now. And if we refresh the page, I didn't save it, so it probably hasn't saved, but I just wanted to show you guys how that works. I think the warning will be that we didn't save it. You have not created any content edits? Yes, because I didn't save it. So that's how content edits work, essentially. Now, what I can do over here is I want to switch this over to a different type of test. I'm going to delete that test that we have over there. So I'm going to delete just testing. That has been deleted. And then I'm going to create a new test over here. And inside of the new test, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the theme one. So I'm going to call this again, just testing 2. And then I'll say ignore this. And then I'm going to create that. I'm going to have a 50-50 split. Next steps. And now what you can do is start to select different themes, right? So I'll select the control group. I'll select the live theme. So that's the one with the green dot next to it. And that's the one that's currently live. And then on the right-hand side, I will select a different theme. So let's say the staging theme, and I'll save that. I'll generate a preview. I don't need to wait for that. Go to next steps. And then I have some customizability here. So what I can do is select all devices, all visitors, and all source sites. Or I can customize this a little bit. So let's say, for example, that A lot of your traffic, let's say half of your traffic comes from Facebook and half of your traffic comes from Google. And the traffic that's on Facebook is converting really well, but the traffic coming from Google is converting really poorly. So you want to start running tests specifically for your Google traffic. But in that case, you just select Google and this works really well. Similarly, let's say that maybe you have a really high conversion rate on desktop, but a very low conversion rate on mobile, which is unusual, very unlikely to happen. But let's say that is the case. You might say, okay, well, mobile is converting quite poorly. I want to run some tests specifically on mobile. So you'll just select mobile traffic only and then just specify all visitors. Now, an important point to be aware of here, over here it says visitor type, and you have a choice between new and returning. On Intelligems, the way that they discern between new visitors and returning visitors is with Intelligems ID, which they tag users with via a cookie. And so a new visitor on Intelligems could be a returning visitor on Shopify because Intelligems does not have access to Shopify's customer database, essentially. It should have been relatively easy for them to build this into the app, but it's one of the very few sticking points to have with Intelligems because I think there's ways that they can work around this that they haven't really. But as of right now, this is the case currently. So if you've only just installed Intelligems on your website and you're like, okay, well, I only want to test with new customers, all of your customers will be new because they haven't visited the website after you've installed Intelligems. So what you want to do usually is just select all visitors unless you've had Intelligems running for a long period of time and you know that most or all of your existing customer base has visited the website after Intelligems has been installed. In which case Intelligems can accurately discern between new/returning customers. That's perfectly fine. But in a lot of cases, especially if you're just starting to run A/B tests, you just want to stick with all visitors because it doesn't matter right now. In most cases, you want all device types, all visitors, and all sources. Then we'll go to preview. Please save your test to access to preview. So you'll save that and then you can configure analytics. So all this does, you have access to all of these analytics anyway, but all this does is like give you a primary objective. So revenue per visitor could be your primary objective. I know for this client, I think that's what we put as default for them. You might want to put conversion rates as your primary objective, which would be like the statistic that's highlighted once the test goes live. It doesn't really matter. You still have access to all of these. It's just whatever it highlights when you actually go in and review the test. So with that said, I'm going to go back to tests over here. And I didn't save that, so that's good. And let me just reload the page and make sure. So yeah, that's how you create A/B tests on Shopify. It's a relatively simple process with Intelligems. I would personally recommend that you guys utilize theme tests instead of the other tests that were available, because it's just easier to have your changes on one theme versus another theme, especially if you're not a developer. However, I think the content tests do work well if you're just modifying copy, like you just want to change one headline versus another, or you want to hide one element as opposed to showing that element. That can work very well for you as well. The other options are there if you need them, and of course you have the price tests as well. You can test multiple tests at once if you want to have like 5 different control groups. Just keep in mind your traffic might need to be a little bit high for you to be able to do that accurately. Just keep in mind if only 20% of traffic is visiting a page, you might need to keep that page live for a longer period of time to actually get good quality data from it. With that said, though, I think that's really everything that I can run through in terms of the basics of setting up A/B tests. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. If you would prefer us to run tests for you, then please click one of the links in the description below. Jump on a call with one of our team, and we'll be able to help you guys set up some tests and hopefully improve your conversion rates and overall profitability of your business.